up, you guys? It's Graham here. So welcome to my first ever podcast ever that I've been... I don't want to say I'm hosting it. I mean, you're mostly hosting me, but...
Right. Co-host
Anyway.
and co-host. There's
All
no
right.
host.
Okay, I don't like that intro. Should I redo it? It's a podcast.
It's fine. Podcasts are raw. No, yeah, okay.
It's, let's keep going. You know what?
All right,
This is going to be a completely unedited podcast.
Alrighty.
Normally, guys, what I would be doing, if I'm doing a YouTube video, I would do that intro like 20 different times.
This is
and
true.
then the 20th time, I would get so upset. I'm like, okay, I'm just using that.
This is true.
So, okay, cool.
All right.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. So we'll do a little introductions. Graham, you go first.
What do you want me to say?
Just, introduce you. I mean, everyone already knows you,
It
right?
sounds so pompous, though, if I introduce myself.
I'll introduce you and you
introduce
introduce me. Okay. So Graham right here, he's a 30-year-old. I'm not going to call him a real estate agent because he mainly does YouTube videos now, but that's what he does. He makes YouTube videos on personal finance. And that's pretty much it.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Almost 2 million subscribers right now.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
It is nuts. Another month.
Exactly.
Another month away. Yeah.
So you want to introduce me?
Yeah.
You go ahead.
So you're Jack. So Jack is the one that you see behind the scenes who's been editing the phone calls. If you send an email to like the Graham Stephan Show or Graham Stephan Business or Graham Stephan Mentorship, we had so many emails. If you send an email to anyone, it's Jack who reads them and responds back to you guys, or not responds back to you is Jack. So I don't see a lot of the emails. So anyway, Jack is the guy behind the scenes, and this is his idea. Putting me up to this, so.
And Graham and I are actually coming up on our 1-year anniversary.
Ooh.
Very cute, right? Very cute.
That's true. Yeah, it's coming up soon.
Yeah, in like a couple of weeks, that'll make 1 year that I've been working with him.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There we go. Yeah.
I started off as a lowly fan, and now I am.
Yeah, you started off going through the Facebook group emails.
Yep. So yeah, this is a beginning. We're doing this.
Cool.
And first off, I think a good activity for the first ever podcast would be hot seat for Graham, because obviously most people are here for him.
Okay.
So I've prepared some questions for you. If you're ready to hear me out. All right. So first off, I'd like to say, when you do your videos, you seem to have a pretty moderate opinion, right? Like you never really want to go astray or extreme or anything.
Right, yeah.
Do you think that you're ever not true to yourself because you're holding back to appeal to a larger audience?
Sometimes, honestly, opinions are completely worthless. I mean, my opinion on certain subjects is completely irrelevant to looking at facts and research and data. Like, I could think something might happen, but I think I'll keep my opinion out of it because all we could really look at is the facts, and the figures, and the data, and the history, and then I let people come up with their own decision. That has always been my go-to. So sure, I have opinions and I have things that I don't purposely share, but usually that's for a reason. I'd like people to come up with their own opinion.
So you do it mainly to be as accurate as possible. It's not really to appeal to a larger audience or to pander.
No, because I like that people could go through my videos and they can't say I was wrong. I don't like that. They can't watch my video and disagree with them because it's like they're disagreeing with fact.
Right.
You can't disagree with fact. They could say a certain thing about the stock market, and I could, well, I cited all of this research, so you can't go to me and say I'm wrong, unless you're calling, everyone at Harvard who did the studies, who spent like years of their life putting this together. Like, I'm researching the data, so I put in the time. I show people what I think they would want to hear or see, and go from there.
This is true. Graham does a lot of research.
Hours.
It literally will be like 6 hours, to even 10 hours of research per video. So
yeah. Easy.
Yeah, kudos to him.
Thanks.
Okay, so second question. Let's see here. If you weren't a finance YouTuber, what kind of videos would you make on YouTube?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. You know what? Originally, this is like 7 years ago, 8 years, I wanted to do prank videos. I thought it would be so funny to do prank videos. And I actually came up with the idea, and this is before like anyone else started doing this. I was like, a lot of these prank videos would be so much easier if you just hired actors. And this is before but I thought like it would be so easy to just hire actors and go and like recreate a lot of these things.
Right.
Make viral videos. Yeah, I don't know how.
And that's what everyone's doing now.
And that's what everyone's doing. There's no longevity in that anymore. But I thought that would be like a fun thing. I'd want to do prank videos. I thought about, music. Music videos, but like drum covers, stuff like that, I think would be fun.
Who inspired you for the prank videos? Loft?
Loft was one of them.
Yeah.
Vitali would be another one. Josh Paler-Lynn, a few big ones. I would say those. God, there's so many prank. Overboard humor before everything that happened with that. Overboard humor.
What happened with overboard humor?
It just had some issues, had some personal stuff come up, and I think it leaked itself into the channel, unfortunately, and I think just the content suffered because of that. Just tough stuff in general. But overboard humor was another one. There's so many channels that I used to watch back then who just Epic 5 TV was another one. Limitless EXP, was it Limitless? Yeah, EXP. I think Vincent Valentine was another one of those guys. Those are guys who would just be in Vegas, just pulling little pranks, like harmless little pranks. I loved it.
That's funny.
So
that's funny.
fun. Yeah, but so I would say probably pranks and then music.
So you said that their personal stuff got into the channel. How big of a threat do you think YouTube is for a YouTube creator's own mental health? Because I feel like I see a lot of YouTube creators doing a lot of videos like about my anxiety, about my depression. Like, do you think that YouTube can spur that kind of like mentality, or it can make people? You think that the job is hard? Because a lot of people like are very prideful that they're YouTubers and like they love their job, but then I see a lot of videos like that, like.
Yeah, it's definitely because your boss is an algorithm that only rewards you if you keep posting, and each post has to be better than the last. And the way the algorithm works is that if your video does well, the next video after that is going to do well too. But if your next video afterwards suffers, then the video following that is going to suffer alongside with it. So it's like the faster you run, the faster the treadmill goes. So the fast, the more distance you're covering, but you You can't just keep doing what you're doing. You have to continually push and do better and better and better. That takes a toll on people. Even for me, it's just constantly figuring out topics that I think would perform better than the last one. It's like you can only make so many topics about personal finance before a lot of them become repetitive. And if there's no news or anything happening, how do you bring people back into the channel? It's tough. So I think that's why it becomes very time consuming, and I think keeping that up, I definitely think it's something that you can't sustain for like 20, 30 years at the current level. And that's
unless if you have like a team behind you that are doing all the back end stuff.
Unless you got a Jack doing all the work.
There you go.
So that's why I think it's so much work and so much involved that there's a high turnover rate. I think of people who do it for a few years and then just move on to something else. Yeah,
that's fair. We've seen a lot of YouTubers go mainstream recently. So that's interesting you say that. Let's see, if you could collab with anybody, I'm talking like anybody you want. It could be the biggest YouTubers out. You could be like Mr. Beast. Not even in the finance area.
My first go-to is Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey, so it would be in finance. It's interesting.
That was my first. If I could collab with anybody, it would be Dave Ramsey.
If you could get anybody on the Graham Stephan show, so I'm talking, you could get the president, or you could get anybody you want. So Oprah.
Well, really quick, besides Dave Ramsey, I would love to have Mr. Beast and Danny Duncan. Would be the other two guys who I would love to have them on the channel. Anybody, Elon Musk.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, on Elon Musk, what do you think about his naming of his child?
What was it? Kyle?
No.
It was pronounced Kyle.
What?
Yeah.
No. It's like XAEA12.
Yeah. But like, I think I read somewhere that's pronounced Kyle because if you in pronounced in Greek, those letters work out to be Kyle. The 1, 2 is like the L.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was something.
Look up Elon Musk name Kyle.
So it's a meme, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh wait, meme accounts have convinced people that Elon Musk and Grimes' baby name is pronounced Kyle. Yeah, I didn't think that he would do that.
So I haven't seen it actually like written out. New baby boy X. I don't know the AE. I don't know Greek.
You don't know Greek?
No. A12.
Yeah, isn't that like a fighter jet or something like that?
Wait. Joey, he identified the second character as Ash, saying it was pronounced X-Ash A12.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's no confirmed pronunciation of the name.
He's just letting the press take off.
God.
So what do you think about the name? You like the name?
You gotta be so rich to be able to name your kid something like that.
Right.
Kid's never gonna have a normal life like that. So there's gotta be
able to provide.
There's gotta be a net worth
threshold
threshold for you to go and name a kid like that. Like who was named Apple? Like there's like an Apple something.
I went to high school with someone named Apple, I think.
Let's see.
Apple. It's a common name.
I don't know. It was Gwyneth Paltrow, and they named their daughter Apple.
Well,
so you gotta have
better apple than like orange or watermelon or something like that. To be fair.
What else do we have? Oh, Blue Ivy. Beyonce and Jay-Z.
That's their kid's name?
That's a name.
I didn't even.
The more money you have, the more wild the names can
That's
be.
smart.
So,
That's
like,
smart.
If I had $100 million, you just
My mom is a kindergarten teacher, and she had a student in her class named Seven.
Huh.
Like it literally spelled out Seven.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some like Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's move on to the next question here. Okay. All right, Graham. So we know your guilty pleasure is all-you-can-eat sushi. Mm-hmm. What is your real guilty pleasure? Like not with, eating sushi or anything like that. It doesn't even have to be with money. But what would you say you like spoil yourself with here and there? Do you have a guilty pleasure?
Not really. The drum set was something that I spent money on. The drum set was something I got for myself.
It doesn't have to be anything you spend money on. Any glutton.
Work.
For anything.
Work. I mean, that's really what it is.
It's true. This guy works nonstop.
I love it. Yeah.
All right.
That's I don't need much. All you can eat sushi for me is like a reward. The McDonald's dollar menu is something that's another reward. Mm-hmm. Drum set was a splurge. The Reef Aquarium is going to be another splurge. But like even on my birthday, like this, like all I wanted to do on my I just wanted to work. I just wanted like a normal work day because like that's what I like waking up to. Like I'm excited to wake up in the morning so I can get to work.
So Graham and I will occasionally go to McDonald's, and when we do, Graham gets the same thing. He gets 2 McDoubles. Yeah. Okay, Graham, what do I get?
The chicken. What was it? The chicken?
I get a McChicken and I get a McDouble.
Yeah.
And it's called a McGang. I might bleep that out. Okay.
Yeah, bleep it out.
But what you do is you pull apart the McDouble, and you have the meat and the cheese and the bun on one side, meat, cheese, bun on the other side, and you get the McChicken and you put it inside and close it. What do you think of that?
I want to try it. I'll try. You know what? Monday. We'll go and
Monday we'll go.
We'll do that.
All right, cool. You'll try one.
Yeah,
they're delicious. I'm telling you, like it's definitely worth it.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Now let's talk about moving in. Okay, so what do you think? Because right now I actually live with Graham in the guest houses property right now. What do you think about me moving in? Do you think it went smoother or more difficult than than you would have initially thought?
I was worried initially. I'll be honest because it's hard for me to concentrate sometimes because I was worried that like, what if I need to work in the backyard? What if he can't keep himself busy enough? Is it going to interfere with me planning and like all this? So I definitely went in thinking like, I need my time not to be distracted so I can plan. And it went smoothly. I mean, very effortlessly. I know I'm missing out on rent by not renting out that guest house, but overall, I would say very smoothly, and it went, I would say, better than expected.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Also, about me moving in, one thing that you told me, which I was very careful about this. You wanted to make sure that our friendship and business, that we're not really two things that like.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. And believe me, like one of the things I want to make sure I do is never like encroach on like anything that it's going on in your life. But I thought it was interesting you said that, and obviously it makes sense, and it was something I expected you to say something like that.
All right, yeah.
So what do you think of it now, since I've been here for a while? Do you think that it's difficult that we do have a friendly relationship?
Right.
You know what I mean? Working with someone who's your friend, do you think that you ever hold back on me? Or do you think that you're not tough enough on me?
No, I don't think so. The thing is, I could probably always ask for more. So I would say there's a few times where I'm like, I very much like, I like to drop everything and just get it done like as fast as possible. So there are times where I would love for just like, let's drop everything, work until like 2:00 in the morning, wake up at 6. Let's keep going.
Right.
So it's hard for me sometimes to step back. Like not everyone is like that. So, I would say that's my only thing is that sometimes I'm like, we got a millennium money. Let's edit it as soon as possible. Get it out. Like all the phone calls. Why aren't all the phone calls done in like 5 hours so we can go and do something else? So
right.
That's usually how I operate. So I would say overall though, I think I'm pretty straightforward when it comes to that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 strengths, 3 weaknesses, or however many you want. What do you think are my weaknesses and strengths? and I'll tell you yours.
Okay.
This is dangerous. I mean, you're my boss, right? Like,
let's start with strengths. I would say very motivated.
Okay.
Very persistent and takes criticism well. Mm-hmm. Say 3 strengths. 3 weaknesses.
The reason, let me tell you this before you say the weaknesses. Okay. The reason why I take criticism well is because I'm confident. Okay. So if you tell me my weaknesses, be sure that it's...
Okay, good. I would say the weaknesses, not being able to focus 100%. You know that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes there are things that need a little bit more urgency that are maybe just not done immediately. But then again, I wouldn't say that's a big thing.
No, that's fair.
I was about to say not getting to things immediately, but that's the same thing. Jeez, I don't know.
There's plenty of stuff you could pick from, lack of original thinking, not contributing enough. Yeah. I don't know.
Very punchable face. I'm kidding.
Okay, it's coming from you.
I'm kidding.
Half of this guy's comments are just
it's a joke. It's like, oh, another guy said I had a punchable face today.
Yeah. That's funny.
I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Would you like to hear,
But you have more time to plan this out. This is not, you thought about this.
Okay, so I actually did not think of anything for you. So this is all impromptu or whatever.
All right, cool.
So I think that one of your weaknesses, starting it off with weakness, is I think that you work too hard and you revolve your life around money. Because I remember hearing in one Middle Ground episode, which I totally agree with. It's like, and also someone in one of my classes actually at UCSB, they said that whatever you worship, you become a slave to. So you worship money and you worship, your entrepreneurial endeavors. But now you're kind of a slave to it. And since you hold it at such high regard, you'll never really be truly satisfied with money and progress and productivity.
I would say at this point, I'd say it's less about money. I think it's just the byproduct of I like working and I like seeing the numbers go up and I like.
Yeah, but now you become a slave to it. You chase it, and I think that
definitely
you'll never be truly satisfied.
I would agree with that. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So I think that was probably it's a weakness of yours.
Damn it! No, I'm kidding. You're fired.
I think a strength.
Okay.
I think that, you're extremely honest. You're a pleasure to do business with. Cool. Like, I know for a fact that I'll never get shortchanged. And I think we both have really, really good mutual trust. Another weakness of yours is you're too trusting. I think that you probably let people take advantage of you or walk on you.
I don't think so.
I think so.
How?
Because you remember we went to, on that one trip. And you were too scared to ask for a check. You're not confrontational. And as a businessman, you have to be confrontational.
Yeah, okay.
We went on a trip and...
We don't need to go to the details about that check, because it's...
Why? Oh! No, he's right. Yeah. He's right. No, we don't need to go into details.
Yeah,
but
we don't need to go into details.
Very interesting. So that's one thing. I don't think you're confrontational enough.
Okay. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, which is fair. One of my most unattractive traits is my parents sometimes still order for me when we go out for dinner. We can leave that part out, though.
All right.
Yeah, so that was a strength. That was a weakness.
Okay.
Overall, I think that I think you're a powerhouse. Like, I think that you do well in whatever you apply yourself to, and I think that's good. I think that's probably just because of your work ethic and mentality.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. Another weakness, I can't.
Too perfect.
You see, Graham makes me leave my shoes at his door, and at first I can't. No, my shoes too. Or when I walk in, you always get shoes at the door. Yeah. Which at first I thought was a weakness, but now it actually makes a lot of sense.
Does, yeah.
Yeah, because recently I've been kind of putting my shoes at the door of my guest unit.
Yeah.
So another thing, when did you enjoy YouTube the most? Because I think it's probably not now, because now it's a career, and it used to be a hobby.
I don't know. Part of me feels like now.
You think you enjoy it now?
Yeah.
But now it's your career, and people say when your hobby becomes your career, then you enjoy it less.
No. I would say my favorites, I would say in the very beginning, for the first 20,000 subscribers, I would say, and now. Yeah, I would say the middle part was a lot of this, like the grind, but now it seems like, it's very much in a wave of the algorithm. Like, when the algorithm is in your favor, you love it. When the algorithm's going down and your videos are not getting views, you hate it. So now I'm loving it right now because the algorithm has been the best. Right. So obviously I'm having more fun with it now because I'm like, you're putting in work and then you're seeing this great outcome and it makes you feel like, oh, wow, I did something great. People really like it. It's a good message. And in the beginning, it was really just because it was new and every subscriber was like, wow, another person subscribed. The first 1,000 was a big milestone for me. The first 10,000 was a huge milestone for me. And then I remember hitting 20 and be like, wow, that's like, that was nuts. to
Right,
me.
right.
And that was the point too, where like hitting, a few thousand views in a day was insane. So that for me was pretty big.
Good to know. I'm glad that you're enjoying it now. This is good. So I was listening to another podcast and someone asked a really interesting question. The question was, since you've become successful, does anyone ever come to you with terrible business ideas? Like people that you've known in the past and now they're reaching out to you and they're like,
okay.
Need a little loan.
Okay, so two things. In terms of terrible business ideas, yes, believe it or not. I don't want to call anybody out. It was
You don't have to say who they are. You could say the idea.
Yeah, I don't know the person. Came up to me, and I don't want to give away his business idea, but he had this idea, and wanted me to go down to the parking lot in his truck because he wanted to show me his product. And I mean, if it could perform as it was basically it was a type of adhesive, basically. We'll call it a type of adhesive. And if it could perform the way he says it could perform, it would be great. But he made these claims that sounds so out there. Like it was stronger than steel and like all this other stuff. And it made me, and just the vibes kind of got me off. It's just like, it's in his truck.
Right.
And just like he needs money. Like he wanted like 250.
And how long ago is this?
Like this? A few months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. Well, it was just, a 10-minute thing. And then, but sometimes because he's a fan of the channel, so I didn't want to say like, no. So I heard him out, but then it kept going and going and going. I don't want to, I didn't want to say.
Right.
No, but I gotta get back to my workout. And that was it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Final question that I've prepared is businesses when you were younger. When you were younger, there were any businesses that you started up or you tried to start up? Now looking in, hindsight, they actually were not that.
Multiple, but I never actually pursued a lot of them. Oh gosh, where to start? One I wanted to make. So the first one I bought, I should have done this one in high school. I bought the domain oddjobs.com.
Whoa.
Believe it or not. And it was a high school business project. And Odd Jobs was basically a Craigslist for people to post up odd jobs that they want to get done. And people could make an account and do those odd jobs. Like if someone wants their garage cleaned out, you post on oddjobs.com, someone could go and clean out your garage for a specified price. And it could be anybody. And then that person, the worker, would have their profile on there. And people can review them.
Right.
So it turned into later what was turned into TaskRabbit, and then they sold that for a lot of money. So I mean, had I pursued that, sure, but yeah.
So only good ideas ever from you.
So yeah, so that was one of them, and I let the domain expire, and so yeah, and then someone else bought it. I should have kept it. That was oddjobs.com.
Yeah,
it was great. Another one was I bought the domain Art Sleeve. I don't know why. Just artsleeve.com.
And now it's bought?
I don't know. I don't think I ever renewed it, but I bought artsleeve.com.
What kind of business are you trying to...
So what that was supposed to be, that now turned into Etsy.
Oh, nice.
Before Etsy. This would have been in 2008 is when I did this. I'm sure I might even still have... No, I might still have my whole outline for Artsleeve.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But yeah, Artsleeve was one of them. There were a whole bunch. I came up with all these. Let's see. If I type in Art Sleeve, this would be a blast from the past. Let's see. Art Sleeve. All right. So I did find it.
All right. You found Art Sleeve.
So I came up with all of this on Microsoft Word. So I came up with this whole outline. Literally on my. So Art Sleeve, and then you could search for painting sculptures by artist name, and then it would basically be. So this is before I guess this is basically a MySpace thing, because this was over 10 years ago that this was done. So yeah, so you would have the user profile picture, people could rate them, the views, their featured artwork. They can have blogs, galleries, reviews, a guest book for people to sign in.
So this was a good idea. If you pursued this could have taken off.
So anyway, so that was one of them, artsleeve.com. The other one that I never pursued, that I really wanted to do, I wanted to come up with a free cell phone plan where instead of, when you call a phone, it's it rings
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine if you get a free cell phone, so you wouldn't have to pay any sort of like monthly data or like anything like that. So you don't have to pay like 30, $40 a month. But instead, anytime you make an outgoing call, you'll hear an ad for like 10, 15 seconds. And then the call goes through.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's...
So I figured, like, or when people call you, let's just say, instead of hearing it's ringing, or you know how people have a ringback tone where it plays some classical music or something? Imagine if a person calls you and they just hear an ad until you pick up the phone.
That's pretty smart.
Why don't people do that?
And, if you're receiving calls, maybe you could even, if you receive a lot of calls, you could probably monetize it. And, you could like wait like for like 3 or 4 rings, wait a while, and then finally answer to get longer playtime on the ads.
It's like, so you would either get a free cell phone that all you have to do to make a call is just listen to an ad, fine. Or you can get paid. Like, imagine if people call you and you could just get paid. Now you would have to figure out some way of just not like manipulating that and hiring call centers to call you all the time.
Right.
But I think realistically, it's just a free cell phone plan where you can make as many calls as you want within the United States, but it's just you listen to an ad before the call goes through.
Not a bad idea.
So I came up, I know I got a business plan in there, but basically I was one of those kids where it's like, okay, so there's 300 million people in the United States. If we can get 1% of those people and we make an average of, 15 cents a day, then, all of this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
$1 million a day based on that. And that was my pitch, was just that. Like, if we get this amount of people, make this amount.
Right.
I started looking into it. And I felt so over my head. I had this idea.
It's hard.
But I was like, where do I start? How do I get advertisers? I think I was like 18 years old. I was like, what do I do? Never pursued it. There were 2 other ones. One was called truthandtell.com. And that was a website. I wanted to make a Yelp for people.
To see if they're like a good or bad person.
Yes.
Okay, I think I've seen like a Black Mirror or something on this.
Something like that. But this made this one again. This was like almost 10 years ago. Truthandtell.com, and this one we actually have. I think you could go to truthandtell.com. I just don't know if I want to promote truthandtell.com because we're not pursuing it.
So in hindsight, you think it's a bad idea?
Terrible idea.
To just like see how good of a person people. Okay,
Yes.
If you had an account, what do you think your rating would be? Minus any influence from, subscribers or anything like that. Just the people you meet on the street. What do you think your rating would be out of 10?
Probably 4, 4.5.
Wait, out of 10?
Oh, out of 5.
Oh, okay. So you think you're like, like
a Truth and Tell, okay, so
80%?
Yeah.
I think it's funny. It's funny. Everyone's done things in the past that they haven't been proud of.
All right. So anyway, I thought it was like, if Yelp for businesses, there should be a Yelp for people. And if someone's a bad person, you go and make a review on it.
It'd just be a bad person.
Yes, okay. But here's the issue, is that we started getting into it, and a few things. One is that people will very rarely go and write a positive review. Usually the people online, if they actually take the time to review something, it's going to be negative. Like, you have to have such extreme feelings to actually take the time to review somebody. So my thinking right off the bat is that predominantly it's going to be overwhelmed with negativity. It's going to
right.
The next thing was that there's no fact checking. There's nothing for me to go on and like, I don't like this person, so I'm going to write a really bad review on them. There's no filter to that. And once you begin moderating comments on the internet, you're assumed to then be publishing or endorsing information. So this is something I wasn't aware of, but you could be a website and remain completely neutral and be completely devoid of lawsuits if you don't moderate comments. If just whatever's submitted is submitted, you don't touch them. But as soon as you start moderating any comments or restricting what could be published or removing stuff, then you're endorsing everything else, and then you could be liable.
Interesting.
So I didn't know that. So, if something gets published on the site and it's obviously fraudulent and it's obviously not true and it's so ridiculous, we can't go in and remove it. And, you wouldn't want it to be damaging to the person, or you wouldn't want it to be hurtful.
Right.
Like if I wrote a really terrible thing about you and that you lose a job now or something happens, I couldn't feel good about myself knowing that my website led to something like that. We did do a mock-up site that we promoted around our friend group, and it actually got like for some reason it caught on in like this other country. So here's what happened. So what we ended up doing is we went through like 50 to 100 friends, and we started promoting it on Facebook. And we got a decent amount of traction for people making like little profiles and kind of like having fun.
So you had to make a profile, so you couldn't just like see someone on the street and like that guy's face looks stupid.
No, so
stupid guy.
I would have to make a profile on you, and then I would upload your.
So even if I didn't even say it's okay for me to be there, like.
No, the way we had it structured is anyone could go on and make a profile about anybody. So I could make a profile about you, upload your picture, put your name,
and just say whatever
put your location, say whatever you want. And so we did this, and what ended up happening was that we had our friend, and he had a very unique last name that not many people have that last name. So we made a funny little post about him, just funny stuff, but it was kind of wild. So like we're friends. So you know how friends is kind of like joke around with each other. So anyway, we wrote some stupid stuff about him, just jokingly, knowing that we're all friends. You know, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that showed up within like a few weeks as the #1 result on Google when you typed in his last name. And his dad has a construction company with that same last name. So guess what? His review came up first before his dad's construction company. So the dad was furious over that because when people Google the construction, you know, I was almost about to say the same. Our friend's profile would come up first with our little joking things. And he got very upset about that, so we took that down. But for some reason we would log in and see like people had been creating profiles in like some other country, and we're like, how did it get? Because we never promoted it there.
Right.
So anyway, that was one of those ideas that got shut down.
That's funny you say that. That reminds me of something that happened within my friend group in high school. I had 2 friends, and one of them asked the other friend, can I sell you on Craigslist? As a joke.
Yeah.
So, you know, the other friend was like, yeah, sure, I don't care, like whatever you do. And he didn't think he would actually like make the listing. And my friend made the listing and actually sold, like tried to sell this other guy on Craigslist and pulled up a picture of him when he was like 7.
Wow.
So this is where it turns bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he posted this on Craigslist, a picture of, you know, the other guy when he was like 7 years old, and he said, oh, this is like young little like whatever. He only needs like a pint of water a day and stuff like that. And like basically
you'll get social services called so fast.
Yeah, so he was saying like you don't need to treat him well, whatever like that. And it was like it was a bad situation, right? But like back in the day, like we thought that was funny, right? Because, you know, obviously we're getting mature and stuff like that. And yeah, the listing got taken down. Everyone forgot about it. And 3 months later, we're at a track event. And like the sergeant of like some crazy like chieftain of police or something like that comes over. And he's like, are you so-and-so? And he was like, yeah. And then he's like, you got to come with me. And apparently they had launched an investigation. And they had been investigating for about 3 months to find out who was trying to sell this person on Craigslist.
They did it. Wow.
Yeah, they found it out.
Wow.
And yeah, lo and behold, like no one got in any trouble,
Yeah.
but the officer was really, really pissed because obviously a waste of like, you know, resources and stuff from the police department. And yeah, there was a little bit of animosity between those friends after that.
Wow.
Obviously they've settled things now, but like crazy, huh?
Yeah. Wow. 2 other ideas I came up with, by the way, that I just remembered. One was an Airbnb for parking spaces. Like, you know, in Los Angeles,
Smart.
Parking is so hard to come by. And I remember going around Venice, and especially as a real estate agent, like you want to show a property in like Venice or like, you know, Santa Monica. It's either all permit parking, you can't find anywhere to park. But imagine an app that you can pull up on your phone and basically pay per minute to park in someone's parking spot.
These are good ideas.
Yeah.
I don't know why you know you never really
they tried
pursued
in
them.
San Francisco, they failed.
Oh.
Because they couldn't find enough homeowners that would agree to do something like that. Now, I kind of get it. I'm sure I have it all in my email too. It's if you have like a $2 to $3 million house, you're not caring if someone's going to pay, you know, $5 an hour for parking. I thought that it would make sense for someone's driveway during like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. if they're at work anyway. Why not make $20-$30 while they're away? So that was something I thought of. Oh my god! So this we tried making a Truth and Tell, by the way, mobile app where you could swipe your friends. So it's integrated on Facebook. So you could go on the app, download all of your friends from Facebook, and then swipe.
I love that image that just says, "Is Carla honest?"
Yeah, but it's a rating system. So basically, it'll ask you questions about the person. You could say yes or no, and you could go through your Facebook friends, and then like, is Carla honest? Oh my god. So we put down here, she is so annoying. Stop posting pictures of your food. Watch what you say to her. She can't keep a secret. 4 mutual friends.
I don't understand. Like, did you think this was like funny when you were a kid? Because I think it's funny now. Like
yeah, but Carla, look. But you could see, like, is Carla honest? You could see 12 people said no, 6 people said yes.
When you were coming up with that idea specifically, did you think that it was actually like going to be a successful business or anything?
I mean, obviously at the time, yeah.
Did you think that what you were doing with your friends was funny though?
Oh, we had a blast. I mean, this was us getting together like twice a week, hanging out, coming up with ideas, thinking we're gonna be, billionaires. That's what we thought.
Do you have any questions for me that you'd like to address? You could put me in the hot seat and feel free to ask me anything. No filter.
I'm not good without pre-planning. I don't know. I have no clue.
What comes to the top of your head?
When is this going to be posted? I mean, that's like the number one.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't stop thinking about work all of the time.
I like it though.
Do you think that you'll ever change from that?
I don't know. I seem to go in these phases where for like a few years I'll be really hyper into it, and then a few years off, then a few years really into it, a few years off.
So it's on a scale of years. It's not like weeks or months.
No, yeah. Because it seems like, for real estate, I was really, really, really like interested in that for the first like 5-6 years. Went through a period for a few years where I was just like, got back into it. Then YouTube came up.
But still, like at such a young age, making like that much money, did you really feel like, or like it's hard for me to fathom?
When you start doing the same thing for a while, it started feeling like every deal was about the same. The showings were the same, houses were the same. I still was excited about it, but it went through a phase of just, I was tired of being at someone's beck and call all the time. And I was tired of just like 8 p.m. would come around and like, oh, I know I got to like pick up my phone and go to a showing right now. Out of nowhere. I didn't like that I couldn't plan around it. Like a lot of that was so spur of the moment.
If becoming a real estate agent was never really a thing, do you think that you would have ever started making YouTube videos?
Yeah, because I'd wanted to make YouTube videos for quite some time.
So you think that you still, regardless of whether or not you were a real estate agent, you would have made YouTube videos?
Maybe. I don't know. Real estate gave me something to talk about on YouTube.
Right.
I don't know what I would have done besides that. Because originally it was supposed to be I was going to be a drummer. Well, first it was investment banker, but I didn't want to go to the school for that. I didn't have the grades, so that was out. Drummer, I didn't want to be a starving musician living in a van on the streets.
Fair.
Just because there's some great drummers out there. I don't know. I would have probably come up with some app, some website. I was really, really interested in that.
What's fascinating to me is you always say that you were really bad at school. Like you had like a 2.6 GPA or something.
I don't know. Probably lower than that.
Yeah, something like really low, but I don't understand. Did you not try in school? Or were you not motivated? Because
so stupid.
You thought school itself was stupid.
I thought it was so stupid.
So you think if you really tried, you could have done better?
I don't know. I just thought
because I mean, you're pretty like eloquent in the way that you speak, and like I think that you're overall like I think you're pretty like intelligent.
I don't think so. I couldn't understand chemistry. I couldn't really understand math. English, I just didn't see the point. There's a lot of stuff I just didn't see the point.
So you didn't try. And were your parents never like urging you, like, come on, what is this report card? 3 C's or whatever?
Not really. I think beyond, at a certain point, they're just like, it is what it is. They can't.
Really?
Yeah. Can't really do. It's so much stupid. Like, I didn't want to learn poetry in English. Like, I would sit there and just be angry because it's just like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. Sit in chemistry and just like, I don't want to learn chemistry. Like, what am I going to do with this? Same with math.
Well, you're very practical.
Like, yeah, it's just like all I thought about is how is this going to help me make money? That's it.
So even at a young age, you always still had the make money mentality.
Yeah.
So you always wanted to like you had the goal set in mind of becoming really wealthy.
Yeah.
It's interesting. What if you were to do something you weren't ever passionate about, like a job that you really didn't like?
Couldn't do it. I tried working at.
But you made a lot of money doing it.
Here we go. Gold Line International. I've never said that before. Gold Line International. That was a job that I worked at barely out of high school. That was what I thought was going to get me into like the investment world. It was Gold Line International. I started doing data entry with them, and I hated it. Could not stand it. But I was
How much
paid,
were you
like,
making?
Minimum wage. Like it was either between $8 and $12.
So it wasn't even that. Like it wasn't great.
No, but the goal was with that is that they were going to start me off doing data entry in the mailroom. and then moved me up from that into the it was into the shipping. So it was like data entry, mailroom, the bottom of the barrel. Then you got into shipping, which is like right above that. Then you got into, gosh, there was something else above shipping that was just slightly better. And then after that, maybe it was like customer service or like.
So it was a lot of steps essentially to be.
But the end goal would be to be what's called an account representative. And what you would do as an account representative is you'd have a list of numbers of people who have inquired to buy gold in the past or precious metals or numismatic coins. And you would sit there all day making calls to clients, trying to sell them.
That's the top?
Coins. That's the top.
That doesn't sound like the top. That sounds like the grunt work.
No, because you're paid on commission. So some of those dudes were making like $200,000 a year. But obviously then after that you have like
right.
CFO and the CEO and all that sort of stuff. So I wanted to be the account representative or account executive.
Telemarketer.
Yeah, which at the time I saw that and I thought that was the most like glamorous, glitzy, because like everyone in the back, and I worked in the back office, everyone in the back office would be like at their beck and call.
Right,
like
right.
You would have some dude, like they would wave the sheet in the air when they did a deal, and like someone would have to go and like run that over to processing in the back, and they'd process the order, and there would be like someone going around, and like if they needed coffee or something, they'd give them coffee. And
they were like the kings.
Yeah. And like everyone, and it seemed like there was this big divide between the front office and the back office. Like the back office people were like these little like and the front office people, you'd see them like drive the Mercedes and flashy clothes.
Okay.
And like, I wanted to be them,
It's a whole like system, whole like.
It was very corporate. I hated it though. But yeah, that was that. I hated it. So that to me was so impactful that I could never do a job that I hated because I would never want to return to that again. It was so awful. The first day I liked it, and then after that, I loathed it. I hated life.
So a question I remember hearing one time that I thought was really interesting. Would you sit in a blank white room for 8 hours a day, but be making $200,000? Obviously, before you started making a lot of money in real estate and YouTube. When you were at that point in your life, would you have accepted a job like that? Sit in a blank white room for 8 hours a day doing nothing, but still walking home with a big paycheck?
Probably.
You would? Yeah. And do you think...
At 18, of course, yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. I feel like a lot of people would probably try it out, and then after a while they'd be like, "Screw this! This is terrible."
Right, yeah.
Would you do it for 100,000?
At 18, probably.
Yeah, 100,000. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, even now, like I'm sure there's a dollar amount where you could pay me to be in a white room for 8 hours a day. I'm sure there's an amount. I think we all have an amount that we would do that for.
Do you think sleep is a waste of time?
No. No, sleep is the one thing for me. I just need it. If I don't get to bed by a certain time, then I'm a wreck the next day.
Think about sleep though, because it's 8 hours of time per day, depending on how much they sleep. That's just like nothing. And think of a way you could monetize sleep. Is there any way that you can make money off of sleep?
Off of your sleep? You could live stream yourself sleeping. There's got to be people watching that would, if I set up a webcam on me in bed sleeping.
There would be people to watch it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, guaranteed.
So I was watching a live stream on Twitch, and there was this guy that went like sleeping and stuff, and there was a donation box. And if you donated a certain amount, people came in, like physical people that were taking care of him when he was sleeping, and they would do stuff to him. So it was like $50, shoot a paintball at him. Like $100, tase him. Like $200, like... I don't know,
thought like
spray paint
a certain amount of money, an alarm goes off or something and wakes you up.
No, there was like $10 like text to talk. So like people would type stuff and it would blast it and wake them up. But like, no, there was like tasers and stuff involved.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to, if I can make enough from live streaming you
sleep and let people watch you?
Let's say it's like $2,000 a night. I mean...
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
I don't do anything. Like, I'm sleeping anyway.
Yeah, but what if you do something embarrassing? Like, you, like, fart or something when you're, like, sleeping?
Okay, the audio is going to be turned off. I don't know.
So you turn the audio off?
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I guess you can put a price on anything.
I would say if you paid me $10 million a year, I would sit in a white room for 8 hours a day.
No YouTube. No, so you'd have to take a year hiatus off of YouTube.
Actually, I don't know if that would be worth it. Wait. No. $10 million a year. No, it wouldn't be worth it. I would say it would have to be like 20, maybe $30 million.
And you do it.
For no YouTube.
Where would I go, Graham? What would I do?
I'll pay you to just stick around.
To just watch you?
Because I'm thinking a 1 year break, $30 million.
You could come back and like have a crazy like, what's up guys? I made $30 million in 1 year, and everyone would watch it.
I guess my biggest concern though would be just mentally going crazy. And then because that might just be enough to screw you up, and then you're never the same afterwards.
It's like going insane from sitting in.
Right.
Isn't that like what insane asylums are?
Yeah, but you're not getting paid for that. It might just be
true.
like sitting there, just being like, okay, fine. You could count how much you're making per. I don't know. I just don't know the effects of isolation for 8 hours a day. Was it every single day? The hard part would be if you don't do it for an entire year, you get nothing. So like if you get to day 300 and you just crack,
wow, yeah,
you don't get $1. Like,
yeah,
that's what it would have to be.
Yeah,
it's either you get all of it or nothing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a really interesting concept. I would probably do it.
I bet most people would do it. I think a lot of people don't like their job and would rather sit in a white room for 8 hours a day with just completely deprived of all of their senses. 8 hours a day.
Just time passing.
That would feel like, but then again, could you sleep during those 8 hours?
No.
You have to.
So you have to be fresh off of like 8 hours of sleep. You have to be like as at your most hyper self with nothing.
You might mentally go crazy.
You probably would.
Because I think humans are not designed to be that. I think honestly what I think would happen is that you would get very depressed. And I think you would have a crisis. That's what I think.
A little crisis in there.
Yeah, and I think every day would get worse. I think you would battle severe depression doing it. And I think coming out of that, you would probably have PTSD.
PTSD?
Yeah.
So like you couldn't get into like a white room.
For an entire year. You're talking about, let's say, if you live to 80, 1/80th of your life was spent in complete isolation for 8 hours a day. You're going to wake up after that, when that is over, and just be paranoid of like going back to that. Or like you're going to be paranoid of like,
really?
Am I out of it? It's going to seem like a bad dream.
That's so hard for me to actually picture because I feel like the entire time I was in that, I would be in that white room. I would just be thinking about like, oh my God, I'm like making this much money. You know what I mean?
Probably in the beginning, but
every time I walk into a room with it's like all white, I'd just be thinking about dollar bills.
But if you look at the hedonic treadmill, after about 2 months or so, making that amount of money is going to seem completely normal, and they're just going to hate it. First 2 months, you could probably do it, but you'll get used to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you'll get used to things very quickly.
So you'd say you're 100% used to your current income. Do you ever like sit back and just think like, wow, this is insane?
Yeah, it's hard not to lose perspective. It's really hard because now I view things in terms of like how many days is this going to cost me to pay for, or like how many hours is this going to cost to pay? And that's not a healthy way to think of things because now when you make so much money, it's just, you could buy this car 2 days worth of work, and then it's, it doesn't really show the context of just how much money it actually is.
So what I'm thinking is Graham wants to get an aquarium. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this aquarium's going to cost like how much, Graham?
$25,000.
$25,000. You heard it here.
Yeah.
And this aquarium Graham has been thinking about getting for how long now?
Probably 10 years.
So those 10 years that Graham has
More
been
than
thinking...
10 years. I have not had an aquarium since I was 17.
So if you assign a value to your time and think about all the stress or whatever, thinking like, oh my God, this is going to put me in like financial ruin. You know what I mean? Like all of that. So if you assign a value to that, do you think that it's equal to $25,000?
Probably, but I look at $25,000 and I it's hard for me to conceptualize that because I see $25,000 as that's a lot of sushi.
Right.
That's a lot. Like when I was 18, that would be a lot of work. I would never have spent that. So I don't know. It's just I see that as a lot of money on things. Like I am so nitpicky of just like I won't buy the more expensive coffee creamer so I could save like $1.
Right.
Or not even buy generic brand cream cheese so I could save $1.50. So I'm looking at all these dollars and $1.50s and I'm thinking $25,000. That's 25,000 times of me doing that. So I'm like, part of me thinks, what's the point of me going and trying to save $1 here and there when it just you blow it on an aquarium?
I think that your frugality really like stresses you out.
I don't know. It puts it in perspective. I mean, it's a lot of money to spend. I don't know. I think it would be a good decision, but it's like, do I spend that much money or do I just get a smaller aquarium and don't need to reinforce the floors? It's like, is it going to be just as good? I don't know. It's also a big commitment on something where it's like, I hope I enjoy it as much as I did when I was 16. I think I will, but...
I think if you wanted it for this long, it's a pretty safe bet that you'll really like
Probably.
it. So should we just wrap it up now?
Yeah. So you want to do the outro or you want me to do the outro?
I mean, I feel like I'll start it and you can sign it off. So thank you guys so much for watching. we actually haven't even mentioned the name of this podcast. I think that we're going to name it The Millionaire and the Student. I think it just really wraps up a really interesting dynamic. Of course, Graham being very successful, and then me,
being not successful.
Yeah, just a complete failure. So, if you didn't know this, I'm a student. I go to University of California, Santa Barbara. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I study economics.
Cool story, bro.
Thank you.
So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for a title, I mean, we may as well be open to suggest. I think we should probably name this to begin, like the Graham Stephan podcast in the very beginning, and then we could shift from there.
Yeah. We could cast a vote poll or something.
Yeah, we'll do that. So guys, if you have any names for this, if you actually got to this point and you listened to the whole thing, let me know. I'd be really excited to hear if people watch the whole thing. So yeah, because this is going to be posted on YouTube, I don't know where you're going to be listening to this. If you're on YouTube, or if there's a like button to be smashed, make sure to smash whatever like button this is posted on.
This is the first smash like.
Smash it. Yeah, it's the first smash like button on the podcast. Also, make sure to add. I don't know if you want an Instagram plug.
Sure. JLSSELBY.
Cool. Add us both on Instagram. And lastly, if you guys want, subscribe. Obviously, subscribe,
right.
And get your 2 free stocks down below in the description for Weeble. and join the mentorship group. We meet twice a week, every Thursday and Sunday. You can do a Zoom call with me. That's fun. So
yeah,
the link to that is down below in the description too.
You want to just do the... So thank you guys so much for watching.
So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.